Howdy friends, it's Kathy from Rust Paper Scissors, and I'm here today to flip through my latest journal. It is a retro, what I envisioned as a retro junk journal. It is basically a blank canvas for you to really make it your own. I did include retro ephemera inside the journal, but all of that is removable. So if you didn't like something, or if you only wanted to use part of it, or if you didn't want any of it, all of that could be taken out and you could use the journal for some other purpose. It was a book that I covered with an old pair of jeans fabric, and I just, like I say, I left it blank. I'm not really frilly, and so although in most of my journals I do add lace and that type of thing, in this one for some reason I just didn't add any lace. I included some lace in what will be sent with the journal in case you wanted to use that, but I left it basically plain for you to maybe make it your own. I did add a little book plate. It's a piece of suede that I cut with my Cricut, and then I wrote on their journal. It is only attached on the front here with these brads with glue, so if you did not like that, you could remove it. The journal is approximately 4 or 5 by 7, and it has 2 signatures, and it has a little lace here on the spine. It is a floating spine. And then I do have the inside here is it's probably about 3 inches wide. But I added a little jewelry, and we'll talk about that. The closure is my signature closure, which is the bulldog clips with the chain. Since I had envisioned this as a retro journal, I included 3 of these little metal rim tags. I was a big Lucy fan. I was born in 1956, so grew up really in the 60s and 70s, and Lucy, loved Lucy. And so I added 3 little metal rim tags. The first one is the Vita Vita Vegemin, and then her making the chocolates, and then the last one is her stomping the grapes. And those I thought were the quintessential episodes, the one that everybody talks about, or you see those episodes, they're the ones that you have. You don't have to leave this on the front of the journal. It's removable, but I just put it there. Like I say, I was a big Lucy fan. The last couple of journals that I've made have been, I want to make sure I'm in frame, have been a little bit away from my comfort zone, and finding ephemera for this journal was interesting because it's hard to do it generic, for you don't know who the person is. That's why all the ephemera in here is removable. If you didn't like something, you could removable. And then I have some extra items that we'll go through that I'm going to include with the sale. But like I say, I wanted it to be a blank canvas for somebody to really just take it and make it their own. On the inside, if I didn't say, there are 2 signatures, and the pages are dyed with the walnut crystal ink, or walnut ink crystals, and I love this stuff. It works just like coffee dyeing or tea dyeing, but there is no acid, so it's pH neutral, so it doesn't affect your pages or pictures if you were to add pictures. So I really like that. So if I say tea dyed when I'm describing it, I mean the walnut crystals. I added the cover here has, I believe that's Tim Holtz Abandoned Fabric was the name of it, but it's a Tim Holtz fabric. This was just a little library card and pocket that I added to the front. Again, I did not, embellish this page because I wanted it to be your own. And like I said, I was talking about the struggle for finding ephemera, and thinking of retro things, I thought about, and I call it subway art, where it would be like a group of words and they're arranged in, let's say, like a square, and they go all different ways. And I've done that before on my own. I did it using an Excel spreadsheet. It was very hard. Oh my goodness, very difficult. I did it for, we had a family reunion, and I put everybody's name and made a square. It took a long time. So I was looking on the internet, and I saw something, I came across something that is called wordart.com. And it's a website that you can make these word boxes, or you could make a shape, you could make just a variety of things. I am not very savvy, and I was able to figure this out in about an hour. The only thing I really haven't mastered is like the colors, but you can work with that. And then what you do, it's free, the wordart.com, it's free. You can download whatever picture that you've made, and then what I did was I put that into an Excel spreadsheet, and then I manipulated the picture, and you could change the color there and that type of thing. But what I thought somebody could do, what I did was I took a series of words from like the 1960s that just came to my mind, was like the Beatles, civil rights, the Kennedy assassination, Woodstock, Summer of Love, just those type of things. I Love Lucy. And I put those words into their website, and then you hit visualize, and I made it into a square. I tried to make that square the size of this cover. I didn't do a very good job, but I was in a hurry trying to get this video done, so I just left it. But these could be, you know, your words. Maybe it's things that mean something to you from the 60s or the 70s or whatever era you're, you know, working with. It could be your words. It could be your family members. It could be teachers. It could be bands you loved, performers you loved, song titles. It could be anything. But I just thought you could, you know, you could put that on your page here, and that would be a quick way to embellish it and really make it your own. So there's other shapes that you can do. This is the same words, but it's put into, when you hit visualize, you pick the shape, and I picked a guitar. So if you had like song titles or performers, you could fill in those words, and then your guitar would be shaped with those words. So I thought this was a neat resource for especially like a retro journal. And then I also did one, and I probably won't be able to find it. I did a little doodle bug, and I don't see it. I must have lost it on the way in. But here is it as a big picture, but I did cut it down very small, and it could have fit on this page. But this is an example of just, I wanted to see it a little bit bigger. Again, it's called wordart.com. And then this was the bigger picture of the guitar, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. And then I was also, you can do numbers. So I did the 6 and the 0, I did them independently, and then I downloaded them, and then when I put them into Excel, I put them together and printed them out that way. So there's just a lot of different things you can do with it. Again, I am not savvy, so me figuring it out was quite a feat. And like I say, that's just a possibility. Like I say, it's just a resource, and might be something you might be you know, interested in. So I wanted to mention that. And then I added the little jewelry here on the side. I added it with a ribbon crimp. I sell those in my shop. I wanted to use some, you know, the love beads from like the 60s and 70s, but I didn't have any in my stash, and I couldn't find any that I really liked. So I had this old bracelet, and to me it kind of looked like flowers, and I thought of, oh, flower power. So I just made a little charm and put those on the side. That's a little bit of femininity there, but not much in this journal. And then, like I say, it's very blank. This inside of the first signature was just a coupon for ice coupons. And I'm not sure what that's from, but I'm sure it was vintage. And then this was just a denim tag that I made with a little lace. And then this was some squares from an old vintage quilt. And I thought the fabrics looked like fabrics we wore back in the 50s and 60s. So I kind of made a little fabric swatch. And again, if you didn't like those, you don't have to use them. And then this was just some tracing paper, manuscript paper. This was a book from probably the 1960s. It was a music dictionary. I took piano lessons, and this was my music dictionary book, so I added that. And then music is very powerful, I believe, and there was a lot of great music from those eras. And I added this music page. What I was trying to say was, if a page was fragile or older, I normally reinforce the spine with some of the cloth wound tape that they sell like at the pharmacy, and that's what I did on this page, just to give it a little strength. And then I had turned it up, so I made a pocket, and the edge of the pocket I reinforced with that tape also, just to give it a little stability. I did not glue the side of this pocket. I did that in case you wanted to add bulkier ephemera or something, so I didn't do that. But you certainly can if you don't want things to fall out. One of the other resources, or the other resources that I want to talk about that I kind of discovered for this journal was defont.com. Now, I had used defont.com a lot, where you download different fonts, and they're free. It's easy. But this time, or actually a while back, I found a font called Vintage Mix Volume 1 and 2. And to me, that font, when you hit a letter, it brings up a picture. And so that one, the art in it reminded me of like Monopoly game art. So I used some of it. I'll show you in my in the journal. I'll point it out when I used it. But I found these other fonts. I found this Famous Folks, and you type in, let's say like you type in an A and you get Lucille Ball, or you type in B, you get Elvis. And so it's a great resource if you have, somebody you want their picture in your journal. So I used some Lucy images quite a bit. And then there's also a font called Hippie Font, and they had little like hippie icons, and I used this one, and then I used another one, and I'll show that to you. This one, I'm really not sure how to pronounce it, Jamon Demar, but this was a Beatles font. You type in a letter and you get a picture of John Lennon, or you type another letter, you get Ringo. You also get album covers. So that's what I did on this page, was the album cover. And then there is a font called Old Car. I did not use any of these in this journal, but again, you type a you get a 57 Chevy. You type a B, you get a Doodle, whatever, I don't know. But so those are just another resource that I thought a retro journaler might be interested in. And so I wanted to mention that. Defont.com, and then the other one was wordart.com, and again, they are both free. So this was a little tag that I made. It's the Beatles, and it's the album Help. And then this was just, an image of Elvis that I got off the Famous Folks. And then this was, I have a Cricut machine, and I can draw different pictures, and so I drew this picture of a transistor radio, and then I also found these pictures of guitars, and I drew those, again, going with the music theme. So that's a possibility. This is just some ledger paper, some writing paper. This is some multimedia paper, so if you were an artist or you wanted to glue something, heavily, you could probably use this mixed media paper, would be fine. This is the dictionary paper. Again, this would be a page that I reinforced with that tape. And then on this fold up, I reinforced the edge. These tags, I used the Hippie font, and I got the BW Bus, which was very popular in the 60s and 70s. And then again on my Cricut, I was able to write this Feelin' Groovy, and then the peace sign. So I thought those were fun, kind of a little hippie there. And then this ledger paper is from the early 1900s, so I included that in there. And then just some graphed paper, some more ledger paper. This is a shorthand book. This was my mom's shorthand book. I believe it's from the 1940s. I took shorthand when I was in high school, so I know they don't even probably teach that anymore. I think they barely even teach cursive writing. There was a tear on the page, so I added a little bit of the faux sellotape, aged sellotape, and I really like that. And then the center of the signature is an envelope, and this was from, I went to an estate sale in April, and these were envelopes that they had the person's safe deposit box information and the keys in, and so I had gotten several of these, so I included 2 in this journal. And then in here, again, I made some tags, and I used the famous folks font, and this was Lucy, and then Marilyn Monroe, and then Audrey Hepburn. And then with the cricket, they had this TV image, and I added the I Love Lucy. And you can see I'm a little Lucy crazy, but that's okay. And then this is the back. These will all be the back pages of those we talked about earlier. In this pocket, I added some 1950s real ephemera. This is, in 60s, this is a vintage glassine envelope, and inside are several little S&H green stamps, and I included those because they were big. We saved a lot of green stamps. And then this was just a Texas Public Employees Association, I guess, membership card. This is from 1954. And then this was just 2 little blank checks I got from that same sale, and just vintage. And then this was an all, I believe, life insurance payment, and it was in 1956. So that's that, and I included those. And then here's just that multimedia paper, the pages. Then here's the back of the music paper. And I had done a project for a friend, and I had this card left over, and it says, "Summertime and the living is easy," so I thought of that song, and the music paper I thought went together. And then summertime was big. This is a tag that I made. This was that vintage volume 1 and 2. This was one of the font letters that you print out, the night baseball. And then this was a Cracker Jack from the box, just the advertisement. And then this again was from the Vintage Folks font, and baseball, the Boys of Summer. So summer was big. We played outside a lot and enjoyed summertime. This is just some of that music paper, the tracing paper, and then the back of the first signature. I don't know if I mentioned the signatures are the outside of the signature is a file folder, so it's pretty sturdy, and it can hold up to if you wanted to collage on it or add your pictures or whatever. So this is the second signature. Again, the pages are basically the same. I'll kind of go fast because I know your time is precious. In this tuck spot, I added just a little booklet that I made. I would sell these rusted items in my shop, and so I just included those. And then on these pullouts, I left them open, figuring you might want to use them to, journal on, just a little bit extra journaling space. You may want to make them into tuck spots, and if you did, you could just add some glue on the top and bottom, and it would be a tuck spot. So that's what I did here. Again, I wanted to give you as much leeway and resources for you to make this your own. And then this is a dictionary page, and in this little flap or pocket, I added just a vintage negative, and then this is from the Vintage Mix Volume 1 and 2. And then this was a camera that I printed off of with my Cricut. I drew it with my Cricut. So I had those, and then here's just the rest of the pages. And then here's the center of this signature. Now in this envelope, I added several things that are associated with cars or trips or that type of thing. And I found this, again, you think I'm Lucy crazy, but I think everybody has a best friend, and I think a lot of us have best friends like Ethel. And my best friend and I, we laugh all the time. We have I Love Lucy moments all the time. We call them Lucy moments. Oh my gosh, we have them constantly. So, you know, it's just to my heart. And then I found this digital print, and it was Lucy and Ethel, and it says, sometimes all you need is a friend and a full tank of gas. And that's very true. So I loved that. I thought that was cute. And then there was just a digital ticket to like a drive-in, and the drive-ins were big back then. We used to go quite a bit. In fact, we had a drive-in near us up until like the 1990s. And we went quite a bit. My kids, we have one about an hour away. We take my kids, and now my kids go by themselves. But there's Route 66, that little digital. This was an image off of the Cricket, and I made a tag, just a 57 Chevy. This was, again, this is where I was talking about it kind of looked like Monopoly art to me, but this was from that vintage volume 1 and 2. Just a little, I made it into like a little journaling card. Here's another Route 66 piece of ephemera. And it's just a digital. This was an old map that I cut up and turned into a tag. Now this is an original piece. This is an old gas mileage thing that you can figure out your mileage. It's probably from the 50s or 60s. But I wanted to include that. I thought that was pretty neat. Mileage record, loop record. So that would be for your car. So those were all kind of car related. And then again, an envelope from the bank back in the day. And that doesn't want to go in properly. I guess it stuck out that much. Okay. Now here's the back of the pages. And then in this pocket, I added some vintage tags. I added some inventory tags, and I believe the inventory tags are vintage also. And then this other tag is just a modern tag, but a tag that you could take and make your own, put your own spin on those. And then here's the rest of the pages. In this one pocket, I added just a blank tag, and I added a little of the ticking fabric. And then this was a birthday invitation. It was in my sister's scrapbook, and it's just from 1960. It was just a little invitation to her birthday party. And then on the back, I added a piece of writing paper. So I included that. And then here's just the back. On the back of the signature, I added, this is a tag from one of my husband's pair of jeans, the Levi's, and so I added that. And then I found this postcard, and it reminded me of kids from maybe the 50s or 60s riding the bus, and made a journaling spot out of that. And then the back is just plain. So that's the journal. And then I also wanted to include with it, since I said it was pretty generic and not very frilly, I did want to add one little bit of femininity, I guess, to the journal. And I make these little, I call them companion journals. I have a couple of sizes. This is one of the larger size. This is the 1/2-inch spine. It has 30 pages, but it has a little bling. It has journal written on there. To me, a lot of women, you know, have a little black dress, and that's what their go-to item if they were going out. Well, this is the junk journal equivalent of a little black dress to me. Gosh, I can't spit it out. I'm sorry. But I thought, you know, maybe you have some special memories you want to journal, or you had a little black dress, or your prom dress that you wore, maybe when you met your husband or your boyfriend, just maybe something special. But this was just a little bit of feminine. And then I just tied, I tied these with a little seam binding, and then the closure is the D-ring closures. I sell these in my shop. I love these. They're quick and easy, and I rust them. And so, like I say, inside is just plain, and you could add or take away pages if you wanted. So that's included with the journal. And then since I had that little section on cars and trips, I also sell inserts. I call them journal inserts, and this one is a road trip insert, and it just talks about maybe what was your itinerary. You had a road trip. What was your itinerary? Your top 10 things that happened. Gasoline. How much was the gasoline? What hotels did you stay at? Your meals. Maybe you had a special meal you wanted to write about. The weather. What was the weather? And then in the back of this one, I added just some tags. These are vintage tags, and it's just a little car, and then hit the road, a little road sign, and then the quintessential question, are we there yet? And then how about this way? Adventure. And then, are you sure we're not lost? So I included those, and so that goes with the journal. Again, you could use these in another project, or you could use them in this one. That is up to you. Then, like I stated, let's go and do these first. Growing up, games were big, and so we played a lot of bingo. And this is just a vintage bingo card. I've told the story before about my mom. My mom was very competitive, and she never lost. She always won low, and it was just hysterical. She was just so competitive, and that was just part of her little personality. And she loved bridge, so I included some bridge scorecards, and because she always won low in bridge. And then these are some Uno scorecards. I believe they're vintage, and a little Yahtzee cards. And I thought you could use those in your journal in some way if you wanted. And then I hold them together with a little alligator clip. You usually use these in your hair, but I like to rust them, and I use them like a paper clip. And I sell them plain, or I sell them with a rhinestone or a flat back pearl. And I like that because you can see them, they'll stick out if you position it just right, they'll stick out from your journal, and it's just a little added something, I guess. My mom was a teacher, and so I found in her things, she had several of these general transmittal envelopes from the Dallas Independent School District. So I'm not sure, those were probably from the 70s. And then this was a Junior Scholastic. It's a page from a Junior Scholastic, and this one was from 1967. So I included that. I thought, you could use this on one of the tags that the blank tags, and you make your own. Maybe you have a memory of doing Junior Scholastic in school. So I included that. Then this is just some extra pages that I included. These are little pieces of guest check. This is some map paper, some old book paper, some dictionary paper, old book paper, some music paper, and then this is one of those pages from the early 1900 ledger. And then I also wanted to include, like I say, I didn't make this journal very feminine, so I did want to include a little bit of a material and fabric and lace. This is just a jean square. This is just a couple of pieces of lace. And then this is some of that abandoned fabric. I added 2 little pieces. You can make a tuck spot out of that. There's several pieces of ribbon, and just included that. So that is the journal, and I do appreciate your time. I want to again mention defont.com and then wordart.com as 2 resources, that's something you might be able to use. I would appreciate any comments on things that I could do better or different. I do look at the comments and I try to respond, and I've been very encouraged by a lot of the comments that I have received. In fact, all the comments I've received have been very encouraging, and I appreciate that. But I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope to get out I have two journals that I'm working on that are going to be very similar to each other, and I believe they're going to be like Victorian handlady or handbooks. So that's kind of the theme that I'm working on those. But again, I do appreciate your time. It will be for sale on my Etsy shop, and I hope you have a great Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you.